And what better place to start than, well, with our good friend James Harden there and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, this opened up +1 here, guys. This is going to be here on tomorrow there. What do we do here with this, Tony Mejia? Because it's already, and I guess it shouldn't be a shock to anybody. We saw this open at 1.5, then it was 1. Now it looks like either a pick or even, heck, Miami laying 1 now. So we do see the line flipping. But the total kind of holding steady at 210.5, Mejia. So what are you thinking about here for a game 3? Is there a gentleman sweep here, or is it sweep altogether, regardless of even if the big man does come back, which a lot of people seem to be questioning at this point?
Well, it's a tough break for us that Harden has such a good poker face and isn't saying much right now regarding the availability of Joel Embiid. But his head coach spoke a few hours ago, Doc Rivers, and he said he still has hurdles to clear, hasn't practiced, but that won't matter if he's able to get back, upon clearance. So, go figure, Joel Embiid won't have to practice. No big deal there. So we could be into tomorrow afternoon when we figure out whether he is good to go. He's obviously got to clear the concussion protocol. He's going to be playing with the torn ligament in his thumb, but we knew that. And we'll see if he's wearing a mask of some sort, given the eye injury. So we'll see. Obviously, the series hinges on Joel Embiid returning, because I don't think the 76ers will be able to win 4 games out of the remaining 5 without him against a really talented Miami Heat defense, and especially considering James Harden hasn't, come to the table on his and raising his game to where it needed to be to steal one in South Florida. He's shooting 11 for 28 for the series, 3 of 12 from three-point range. The sole reason why we weren't able to cash that first game 1 over was George Niang going 0 for 7 from 3, because they really needed him to give them a boost as a small ball 5. He finally hit a 3 yesterday, but is now 1 of 10 in the series. So, will there be some home cooking for Philadelphia in terms of getting back with their home crowd behind them and familiar sight lines? We've seen Tyrese Maxey step up, but will that help guys like Furkan Korkmaz, who's now in the rotation? Niang, who played so poorly. It looks like DeAndre Jordan will continue to start if Joel Embiid cannot play. But again, I think Philadelphia's realistic hopes hinge on Embiid being cleared to play Game 3 so they can get out there and get on the board. If he doesn't play and Miami wins, I think at this point you're going to want to ride Miami now, because obviously if you think Philadelphia can win without Embiid, take the point now, because they'll be favored if Embiid goes. If not, then you want to ride the Miami Heat.
Yeah, it's a tough spot here, Rob, for this Philadelphia team. I know they would have enjoyed, getting 1. At least we know James Harden would, right, James? Yeah, James says yes, absolutely there, Rob. But what do you do here at this point? Embiid or no Embiid, what we have seen is ugly. The bottom line is it's just not a great match. There's too much depth, too much shooting for this Miami team. And you couple in the fact that in all likelihood, Embiid, last time this happened to him, he was out 3.5 weeks, 22 days, I think. All of a sudden, he's going to pop in with the Phantom of the Opera mask and all as well. What are we doing here, Rob? Are we looking at a sweep here, maybe a gentleman sweep at best?
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Philadelphia either way, Joe. I mean, you don't know Joel Embiid as a tentative type player, but with the thumb, with the orbital bone, with the mask, if he clears concussion protocol, that's fine. But I mean, we're seeing some really hard fouls in playoff basketball right now. And how aggressive can you be if you're Joel Embiid, knowing that, Miami's got a defensive reputation about them. They're not going to back away. I mean, you're sort of in kind of protection mode with your thumb in your eye. I just don't know how well it's going to, or how much improvement it will give Philadelphia with Embiid on the floor. I guess that's yet to be seen. But here's what we know. They've played 8 quarters so far. Miami's won 7 of those 8 quarters. 6 of those 7 that Miami won, they won by 5 points or more. So it really hasn't been close. Tony talked about or singled out a couple of guys for Philly with poor three-point shooting. Overall, the team is 14 of 64. 64 threes attempted, 50 misses. And I think we knew that was going to be a problem 2 months ago. It didn't take these 2 games to understand that when you're going to rely on Danny Green, Niang, Korkmaz, the guys that are going to be open for threes, it's not going to turn out well for you if you're the 76ers. And I heard a number that's kind of amazing to me this morning. Since James Harden became a Philadelphia 76er, he has not tried 20 field goal attempts in any game, which, for those who don't believe or for those who are in the camp that James Harden is still James Harden, I think that number speaks volumes, because there was a day when if James Harden was asked to step up and be the leading scorer for his team, and remember, Joel Embiid in that Toronto series publicly asked twice before the series started, I need James to be more aggressive scoring. After Game 5, when Toronto cut it to a 3-2 advantage for the Sixers, he said the same thing again, and we just don't see it. It seems like James Harden right now is, and he's a very good passer, he's a facilitator. And I don't know if that's enough to get it done for Philadelphia, honestly. Tyrese Maxey had the game that most thought he would have to have last night, and it did make a difference. He scores 34 points, but they still get beaten by more than the spread. So, like I say, Miami, I guess, and I'm not looking at the props right now, Joe, but Miami in a sweep, I don't know what the plus is on that. Miami in 5, I don't know what the plus is on that. But either one at this point looks pretty good. So we'll see what the number does. And I agree totally with Tony on how to play this game upon waiting the announcement for Embiid. I mean, if you like Miami, you can sit back a little bit. And if you like the Sixers side, you better go now.